What's the YouTube? Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update thanks to Dauntless Advance to the main cover card, and that is of course Utopia. Now technically this is like Utopia Onomat. I think is like the best and most accurate way to describe this because it includes the Dododos, Zubabars, Gagagas, you name it, but it also focuses around Utopia as well. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to take you through the profile, show you what we've got, explain what we've got it, and then I'm also going to talk about some other alternatives you might want to add depending on your playstyle and what you want to try and achieve with this deck. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you miss out on any more upcoming content. Starting off with the main of the brand new cards, being free of the Do Warrior. Now it's actually really important that you remember the 4 Does because there is a Do Warrior. So it is very, very important when you're writing out deck lists for your NAWCQ or any event you might be going to that requires a list. Make sure you put the 4 Does because if you only put 3, you will probably have to look out for the 3rd Do. So this one card is absolutely insane, and the reason this one is so good is it does work with the Rise Your strategy as well. So you send a Dodo monster from the deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from the hand. Its level becomes 4 and its attack becomes 1800. You can't special from the extra deck except Xyz for the rest of this turn. And if this card is detached from an Xyz to activate the monster's effect, you get to add a Zubabar monster from the deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, the ideal Dodo that you're going to want to send is, once I get to it, I'm going to jump ahead, is going to be your Dodo Dwarf Go gloves. You're going to have to keep up with me because there's going to be so many Dododos, Zuzuzuz, Go-Go-Go's, you name it. So during the main phase, you get to special summon a Zubabar or a Gagaga monster from your hand. If you control a Go-Go or a Dodo monster accept itself while this card is in the graveyard, you get to special summon this card, but you banish it when it leaves the field. Now, one very important thing to remember if you're new to the game or new to the Xyz mechanic is when a monster is detached off of an Xyz, it doesn't leave the field as a monster. It leaves the field as an overlay material, which means if there is a card in play that says any monster sent from the field to the graveyard is banished instead, that card doesn't get banished. Technically as well, in this scenario of the bottom clause here, the Dodo Dwarf Go gloves doesn't actually leave the field because it gets detached as a material, so it just goes back to the graveyard. Now that's obviously really important because if you are in the future able to get a Dodo onto the field, you're then able to revive the gloves again. Moving on to the other one of the brand new ones, we are playing Go Goblinburg. So when this card is normal summoned specifically, quite annoying, you get to special summon a non-warrior Go monster from the hand, deck, or graveyard. So it's an update on the original Goblinburg because Goblinburg let you special summon a monster from the hand. Then on top of that one is if this card is in a tap position, you change it to defense position. For the rest of the turn, you can't special summon from the extra deck except Xyz. And if this card is detached from an Xyz monster to activate that monster's effect, you get to add a Dodo monster from the deck to the hand. There's loads of different, and it's going to be very, very important that you remember what card search what, because of the Dodos, Go-Go's, Gagas, you name it. Then a very pivotal card that we haven't, isn't one of the new ones, but it's just actually really pivotal for the strategy and what you want to play for, is Zubabargoch Gagaga Coat. So this is in Legendary Duelist 6 as a rare, as was the glove. So if you were able to pick some of them up, or even if you picked up Legendary Duelist Season 3, which is like a collaborations of all of the past Legendary Duelists, you should be able to pick these up in common or just relatively cheaply. So if you control a Zubabar or a Gagaga monster except itself, while this card is in the hand, you get to special summon this card. You can target one Go or Dodo in the graveyard and special summon it. You can't special summon from the extra deck except Xyz. So again, the benefit of this one is it's one of the ones that once you're working your way through your extra deck, you're able to summon it down and then revive one of the materials back from the grave and then make a fresh brand new Xyz. Then for the other new ones, we do play the one Gagaga Gnabara Knight. So you get to reveal a Gaga monster in your extra deck to special summon this card from the hand and then apply one of these effects. You special summon a Gagaga monster from the hand, you change the battle position of one monster from the field, and if this card is detached from an Xyz to activate that monster's effect, you get to add a Go monster from the deck to the hand. Only use each effect once per turn. And again, the benefit of this one is you have 2 Gagaga monsters in your extra deck that you'll be able to reveal for this card. So it does have a bit more extension. But remember, all of your other cards are going to search out Dododos, Go-Go's, Gagas, you name it. Then the last of the brand new ones is Zubabar Knight. And it's actually really important that you see that all of these have been level 4s up to this point. So if this card is normal or special, you get to activate one of these effects, add a Zubabar monster from the deck to the hand, except itself, and this card level becomes that added monster's level. So that's how you're going to fix that little small issue. You get to destroy one level 4 or lower defense position monster your opponent controls, and if this card is detached from an Xyz, to activate the monster's effect, you get to add a Gaga monster from the deck to the hand. So it's just great synergy, just searching each individual one as you go. I am trying out the one Go 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 Gaius. So when this card is in the graveyard, if you special summon a Go 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 monster except during damage state, you get to special summon this card from the graveyard in face up defense. You can't conduct the battle phase, you activate this effect. So it's very important. You ideally want to be doing this during like your turn 1, but this deck is a 41 card deck, so this is one of the flex spots you can go, let's get it out. Then we do play the one Utopic Onomatopia. So this one basically is treated as a Zubaba, Go-Go-Go, Go-Go-Go, and Do-Do-Do card. So if at any of these points you're like, oh, I've run out of actually named Go-Go-Go's, Do-Do-Dos, you name it, you just add the Utopic Onomatopia. So during the main phase, you get special summon one each, a Zubaba, Go-Go-Go, Go-Go-Go, and or Do-Do-Do monster from the hand in defense position. You can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except XE, so again, absolutely fine, and it basically becomes a free extender from that point. Then have the one Astraltopia, so this is why we're getting more of the Utopia cards involved in this deck, and I feel that's kind of like, not the best way to play the deck, but I feel it's the more true to what Utopia Onomats are, and pays a bit more homage to Yuma as well. So if an Xyz is on the field, you get to special this card from the hand. You get to send one other card from the hand or field to the graveyard to add an Xyz, Onomat, Zexal, or Number spell or trap from the deck to the hand. Now the benefit of something like this, as I quickly jump ahead, is you have so many powerful spells and traps in this deck that you can search, and this card is going to help you do that. There are other cards in the deck and the extra deck that will help you do it as well, but the fact of the matter is you can get direct access to Onomat Pickup, you can get direct access to your Onomatopia. You've also got access to your Zexal construction, which again is a completely up to you if you want to utilize this one. And then there's a couple of others that you can look into. So you've got your Unbreakable Xyz Barrier. I prefer you only play one of the counter traps. You can either play this or the number one. I feel this is probably a little bit better and a bit easier to get hold of, but entirely down to preference. Then we are playing the one ZS Ascended Sage. So you control no card, you special summon this card from the hand. Very rare you're really going to be doing that unless you hard open it. But Utopia XYZ, the special summons using this card on the field as material gains the following effect. That if this XYZ card, you get to add a rank up a magic normal spell from the deck to the hand. And then the other one we play is the one ZW Pegasus Twin Saber. So you can only control one Twin Saber, and very rarely are you going to want to be controlling more. So if your opponent life points are at least 2,000 higher than yours, you can special on this card from the hand. You can target one Utopia monster you control and equip this card to it as an equipped spell that gives it 1,000 attack. Once per turn, while this card is equipped to a monster, you get to negate a monster effect activated on your opponent's field. So this one can act as a bit of a negator if you are to be leaving some of your Utopias on the field, and we are going to be playing a range of Utopias in the form of Utopia Double. We've got Utopia Prime, Utopia Rising, and of course the classic Utopia as well, alongside Utopia Ray and Dragnar. So you've got plenty of targets that this can equip to set you up with a nice bit of monster negation as well. Moving on to the spells. So the spells are actually really, really cool, and one of my favourite part of this deck. So you get to play the Onomat Pickup. This is a continuous spell card, and when it's activated, you get to add an Onomat card from the deck to the hand, except itself. You can target one Zubaba, Go-Go-Go, Go-Go-Go, or Do-Do-Do monster you control, and until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field, you can only use each of the effects once per turn, but that monster you currently control becomes that level. So it basically allows you to reset the levels of all of your monsters, and you're probably going to be targeting at level 4 just on those odd occasions that you might need to normal summon down an Ash Blossom or something and then balance out all the levels. The biggest benefit of a card like this is you're able to search out the Onomatopia, which is just absolutely insane. So you only get to activate one per turn. You send a card from the hand to the graveyard, but then you get to add up to 2 of these monsters from the deck to your hand. So a Zubaba, Go-Go-Go, Go-Go-Go, and Do-Do-Do, and you get to add 2 of those straight away. So you're basically trading this plus the card you send to get you 2 of those. And if you're putting stuff like gloves in the graveyard, or you're putting cards in the graveyard to search out your extenders from the hand, you're just going to be able to push your resource a little bit further. Then we're playing a range of one-ofs. So I've got the one Zexal Construct, and as I mentioned, this is completely optional. This again can cut the deck down to 40. It opens up the door that a card that I want to consider playing is Astral Karibo. And the reason I want to consider playing Astral Karibo is it can manipulate its level to become a level 4, and then grants an additional effect to a number monster that you're going to try and summon. And apart from the Gargagars, most of your monsters are going to be numbers that you're trying to summon. So you reveal one card in your hand, and if you do, you add one of the following cards from the deck to the hand, and then shuffle the reveal card into the deck. So you either add a ZW, a ZS, a Zexal spell trap, a rank up magic spell, or a rank down magic spell. Now, completely optional on this one. This is just going to get you to your monsters. So if you want to search out a monster negator, you're good to roll. It really does come up to you, but this one is a card that you consider to play or not, and it is searchable over the back of the Astraltopia as well. Then the one Double or Nothing as your OTK enabler off the back of your Utopia double. Of course, you can play Utopia Lightning in the extra deck, which is one card that I kind of feel is missing and I want to put in, but I'll talk you through the extra deck when we get to it. And then we do play the one Hyper Rank Up Magic Utopia Force. So you target a rank 9 or lower Utopia XEs you control and special on one rank 10 or higher Utopia or Utopic XEs from the extra deck. By using that XE's monster you control as material and is treated as an XE summon, you transfer the materials to that summoned monster. If an XE's is special on by the effect of a rank 10 or higher Utopia or Utopic XE's monster, while this card is in the graveyard except during damage state, you get to target one of those special monsters and attach this card to it as material. Now that's really important because through your Utopic Drachnar, which is going to be the one you're going to be going for, this will let you summon out a numbered XEs. In this scenario, the one we're going to be working towards will be the Hope Harbinger. But should you want to, you could also actually play the number 90 Galaxy Lord. And the reason I say that is because by the time you're summoning out the Galaxy Lord, this card will be in the grave and then you get to attach this as material. The reason the Hope Harbinger is a little bit more balanced is it has the ability that when your opponent activates a spell, you absorb it. It doesn't need to detach a material to do so. And it only detaches a material to redirect an attack, which can be very, very devastating, especially if your opponent forgets about that secondary effect. Then we are playing one Reinforce of the Army. Most of your Go-Go-Go's, Do-Do-Do's and everything else are Warriors. One Unbreakable Xyz Barrier. So it's a counter trap card, and when a spell, trap card, or a monster effect is activated while you control an Xyz monster, negate the activation, and then you get to detach 2 materials from a monster you control to then destroy 1 card on the field. You can banish this card from the grave to target an XEs you control and attach a light Utopia or Utopic XEs monster from the grave to it as material. So the benefit of something like this is it has kind of 3 effects in one. It has that nice negate, it then has that ability to destroy a card should you want to, and then it also has the graveyard effect to attach a material. So if you've already detached all the materials from your XEs, you get to add 1 back again. Then for the hand trap staples, I've gone with 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Drone Lockbird and 2 Ghost Spell. You can play Fluorlos if you want to. You can play Perulia. I kind of felt that these are going to be more accessible to a player that will be playing Utopia. But if you do have the Fluoros, I would look into main decking it. One thing that I am playing, and I feel that this deck will struggle against Drone Lockbird, you can afford to cut the Drone Lockbirds down to 1. And the reason you would do that is I am playing Crossout as its counter target. There's also 1 Call by the Grave, 1 True Tactic Talents, and 3 Sales Ban to help protect against Drone Lockbird. Now, if you're not worried about Drone Lockbird, you can be a little bit more flexible, and straight away you've got 3 Imperms, you've got 3 Fluoros, you've got Perulia. You can go all out and just, rather than being defensive and trying to make sure your combos go off where it's all possible, you replace these with effective hand traps so that if you are going to end up going second, you can still interact with your opponent and stop their field being built. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now to show you the extra deck. Now apologies for the different sleeves on this one. They are currently in my other competitive decks that I'm utilising, one of them being Sky Striker and one of them being Vanquish Souls. So that's why they're in different sleeves. Moving on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we are playing one of the brand new number F0 Utopic Future Zexal. So this requires 2 XEs with the same rank. This card's original rank is always treated as 1, and it gains attack and defense equal to the combined ranks of all XEs you control and in your opponent's graveyard times 500. So in a Rizio matchup, this is going to be strong. So, your opponent's monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except this one. Also, your opponent cannot target other cards on the field with card effects. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, quick effect, you get to detach a material from this card, take control of a monster your opponent controls, non-target, and for the rest of this turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. Then we do have its partner in crime being the Utopic Draco Future and the Utopic Future. For some reason, my light behind me is increasing and decreasing in brightness, so apologies on that one. I don't know why it's having a moment. So you've got Utopic Future and Utopic Draco Future. We've got the 1 ZS Utopic Sage. So generic rank 4, detach 2 materials from this card to special summon a ZW or a ZS monster from your deck. For the rest of the turn, you can only attack with number monsters. You can't special from the extra deck except XEs. You can only use the effect once per turn. And if a Utopia or a Utopic XEs monster you control whose original attribute is light would be destroyed by battle or card effect, except itself, you get to banish this card from the field or grave. So the benefit of something like this is it's going to give you direct access to, it can technically get you to your ZW Pegasus if you want to, but it's mainly going to be working itself into the Ascended Sage. And the benefit of something like that one is this is then going to be utilized as material for another XEs play, and that will then let you search out your rank up, and that's how you're going to work your way into the Dragnar. Then for the Utopias, we have 1 Utopia double, one Utopia Prime. You don't have to play Prime. This is a flex spot. This is where you can adapt it to play by Baguska, to play any generic rank 4 you want. But the idea behind this one is you get to also exceed summon this using a number 39 Utopia you control as material. You transfer the materials across to it, and if your opponent's life points is at least 3,000 higher than yours, you get to detach 3 Xyz materials from this card and then pay life points so that you only have 10 left. Destroy as many special monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, banish them and then inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each monster banished. So it's a time con option, it's an aggressive option that allows you to clear the field and then hopefully pushing for game. This can very easily be Utopia the Lightning if you want it to. We then have one of the more recent Utopia 39 variants being Utopia Rising. So if this is special summoned, you get to target a number Xyz in your graveyard except itself and special summon it in defense edition. Then you get to detach all materials from this card and attach them to that monster. If this Xyz summoned card if your Xyz summoned card accepts your Endeavor Step, you get to special summon this card from the graveyard but banish it when it leaves the field. Only use each effect once per turn. And again, the benefit of something like this is being able to recycle a Utopia monster like this and bring one back itself. It then opens up the door to make the access to your Utopic future Zexal as consistent as possible. Then we have Utopia, backed up by one Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. This can be a Utopia Lightning. It can also be a secondary Utopia if you want it to. Once per turn, you get to detach material from this card, equip a ZW monster from your deck, or extra deck this card as material, as if it was equipped by that monster's effect. This effect's activation and effect cannot be negated. And then once per turn, while this card is equipped with a ZW monster, you get a quick effect to target an effect monster your opponent controls and negate its effects, and if you do, halve its attack. So when this is being equipped with something like your ZW Pegasus, you're setting yourself up with pretty much a double negate, which is really helpful. Then we have the one Utopia Dragnar. So quick effect, you get to detach 2 materials from this card to special summon from your extra deck one number monster that has a number between 1 and 100 in its name. It is treated as an Xyz summoned, and the turn you activate this effect, other monsters you control cannot attack directly. You cannot special summon from the extra deck except Xyz, and when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you get to change the attack of the opponent's monster to 0, and use each effect once per turn. So this is your aggressive defender that lets you spawn out any Xyz number, and the one, as I mentioned previously, you might want to be looking for more times than not will be your Hope Harbinger. And the reason you would directly go for this rather than this is this will rely on the spell being able to resolve to give this material so that it can negate. Whereas the your Hope Harbinger gets the ability that when a spell or effect is activated, you get a quick effect to just absorb it and negate its effect. And then when your opponent monster declares an attack, you then detach a material to redirect the attack to this card. So that's the detach effect, which is why it's useful even though it has no materials. For the Gargars, we are on one Gargar Magician and one Gargar Girl. So this is generic rank 4 as well. You get to detach material from this card to target an Xyz in your graveyard except itself and special summon it, but negate its effects. You can only use each effect once per turn. A Utopic future Xyz monster that this card has as material gains the following effect. That during the main phase you get to detach 2 materials from this card to target one Xyz monster you control. Until the end of the turn you change its attack to 4,000, but you negate its effects. And of course the brand new Gargar Girl is again generic, but if it has a Zubabar, Gargar, Go, or Dododo card as material, you get to detach material from this card to add a Gargar, Onomat, or Xyz card from your deck to the hand. You can use each effect once per turn, and a Utopic future Xyz that has this card as material gains the following effect. That if this Xyz card is XYZ card, Xyz summoned, get there eventually, this card can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. And the final 2 monsters are, of course, the Brothers in Crime, or the Nemesis, I don't know, in the one of the AA Zeus and, of course, the Typhon. Again, Typhon is a bit more of a flexible option, but it's very easy to get a fat stacked Xyz monster to then attack and then Zeus on top. But then, obviously, you do have the Typhon to give you that ability to out what would be assumed as a Rise Your Detonator board, but you can obviously take this out, and that's, again, when you open up the door to Utopia Lightning. You can then also fashion some space for your Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord as well. So you're getting a bit more flexibility depending on what you're trying to achieve with the deck and how you want to play it. So that's it for the entire profile. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer them. I think it's a really, really fun deck. I feel the brand new support for the Utopia strategy is absolutely amazing. I love the Do Warrior. I love the inclusion of the Go Goblinburg. And I do think that they're really kind of cool additions to help the deck be a little bit more consistent. Of course, it's not going to topple the meta as a Utopia deck, but it's still going to be very, very good and very, very useful for an upgrade of a Utopia strategy especially if you are a big fan of the deck and just XZ summoning in general. I quite like it as an introduction to XZs, and it's kind of what the whole Utopia strategy is, especially if you want to go back in time and see where it all starts off. This is one of the best ways to do it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, like I said, comments below, always happy to answer them. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling.